So today we're going to talk about fake tattoos. Now, I could just, peel this back and apply it to my skin and kind of do this as a tutorial on how to apply one of these guys. I could just do this, and I could put it down, and I could go ahead and wet it with my water. I could go ahead and get it on there. I could sit here and pull it back and show you how this transfers onto the skin without any problem. And I could go through and show you how to finish this guy off. But what fun would that be? So today, we're going to make something from scratch. How about this? You want to see how I make this? Do you want to see how we apply something like that? Do you want to see something that goes together in multiple sections? Just like this? Well, come along with me and we're going to find out today on Off the Walls Effects. Hi, my name is Adam Walls and I'm an award-winning makeup artist. You may have seen my work in Netflix's Project Power. Are you curious about how to design, create, and apply your own fake tattoos? Well, come along with me today on Off the Walls Effects and I'll show you how. So the first thing we want to do when making a fake tattoo is we want to capture our actor's form. In this case, my wife has so graciously decided to join us again and to be our crash test dummy. We'll be using saran wrap and scotch tape to essentially capture the form of her arm. This is what we call a taping. After we get our saran wrap nice and tight, we're going to use the tape to hold the plastic in place. Now, if we were really trying to be exact and precise, we'd be covering all of the saran wrap with the tape to create a shell. But for our purposes today, we just need a rough guide. Once that saran wrap is smooth, we get out a Sharpie and we start drawing the rough shape of our tattoo. Since this tattoo is going to be a snake, I figured starting with the head and an open mouth around her thumb and forefinger would make for a cool tattoo. I want the design to look like it's coiling around her arm, basically wrapping up towards her shoulder. Because we're just capturing the rough shape, we don't have to be super precise. We just want that shape because eventually we're going to stick our design within the confines of that outline. I like to try to mark a little bit of the anatomy too. You can see that I'm trying to capture the position of her thumb and forefinger, and I'm also trying to mark where her knuckles are. Essentially, I'm just making a couple guideposts that I can use when designing the tattoo so I can line things up accordingly. Once we're happy with our form, take scissors and carefully cut the wrap off our actor. Now here's a fun little trick for you. I'm going to lay this saran wrap over the top of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of printer paper. This paper will allow us to keep the tattoo sized correctly by keeping our proportions accurate when transferring the outline to its digital version. We want to make sure to set our canvas to 8.5 by 11, and we scale up the corners of our image to the corners of our canvas. To start our snake design, I found a snake head that I like, and I'm going to use that image to base our tattoo off of. Of course, we'll have to open the mouth and add fangs and get it onto the hand correctly. We'll drop our outline into the background and reduce the opacity, and we'll use that outline as a guide for our design. Notice that I'm keeping our design within the confines of those original markings. Now, I did like the coloring of that original reference, so I'm going to use the same sort of muted greens and terracotta reds that we found in that photo. That being said, take some artistic liberty with it and really make it your own. Now, just a quick note on that white that I'm adding. Printers can't print white, so all of those white areas that you're seeing in the design are actually going to come through in the end as skin colored. Also, because printers use white as a background for all your other colors, all of those greens and reds are going to shift based off of your actor's skin tone. Once we have our finished design, we go ahead and give it a test print, and we're going to cut it out and tape it together to make sure that the different sections connect up correctly. We also want to make sure that it lines up on our arm correctly. To do this, we're going to cut out my design and tape it to my wife's arm. Remember that original taping, how the design coiled all the way around her arm? I decided to kind of switch it up because I didn't want the snake head to go so abruptly across the hand onto the wrist. So instead, I decided to stretch it up the arm in more of a linear fashion. So we'll take note to see where the tattoo lies down. Does it line up the way you want? Do you see any spots that might be an issue? If you do, this is the time to change your design if needed. Once we're happy with our design, we drop our tattoo into Photoshop to add our finishing touches. You'll notice that I'm shuffling my layers into separate groups. I want to keep my original layers intact and unedited. The reason for this is because if I need to drastically change the color or fading later, I can go back to my original files to make that happen. If you're stuck with a layer that's already blurred and you'd like to make it sharper, you're SOL. Every tattoo I've ever created contains those original unedited layers. Duplicate your originals, flatten them, and once that's done, we'll fade and blur those flattened layers accordingly. Generally speaking, a good digital rule of thumb is to label your layers. If you start working on a complicated design and you've got 70 some odd layers and they're all named Red BG Copy Number 1, you're going to be hating life. Do you see how I'm blurring my layers? That Gaussian blur filter is a great tool to use to accurately blur my layers. I usually set the blur to anywhere between 3 and 4 pixels, and that usually gives me the appropriate amount of blurriness for a tattoo. I also find that dropping the opacity on those layers anywhere between 65 to 85% really helps to give your tattoo that aged look. Once we're done with that, we're going to test print these to make sure they look good in the real world. You can see that by comparing the two prints, our blurring is pretty good at 3 pixels, but let's try to blur it just a little bit more to see how far we can push it. After blurring our tattoo by an extra pixel, we're going to print it again and we'll give it a quick look. So I don't see much of a difference between the two blurred versions, so we're just going to go with that last one. Temporary tattoos are printed on water slide paper, and in order for that paper to work with my printer, I'll give it a real light dusting of no color powder. This is going to do 2 things for us. Number 1, the powder is going to allow the water slide paper to go through my printer, and number 2, the powder is probably voiding the warranty. I don't necessarily recommend this, especially if you want to keep that warranty intact, but in this case I know my printer very well, and I know that it won't take the paper without that powder layer on it. Just keep in mind that every printer is different, and some printers will take this paper with no problem. Now you see how I flipped the design digitally? Keep in mind that you'll be sticking the tattoo face down onto the skin, and that means our applied tattoo will always be a mirror image of what's on the screen. This step is really important, especially if you're using text and words in your tattoo design. Being on set with a backward word on your actor is super embarrassing. Don't do that. We all know that printers are finicky, and even though that powder helps to prevent the internal sticking, it also prevents those rubber wheels from grabbing the paper in the manual feed. So in this case, we're going to have to give it a helping hand. So those prints look good to me. So next we'll go ahead and take our thinned Pros-Aide and we'll spray the surface of the tattoo with our airbrush. We really want to make sure that all the surfaces are completely covered. Now it's kind of hard to see where you've already sprayed, so I find myself angling the paper in the light so I can see exactly where those glossy areas are. The paper will go slightly matte when sprayed with the glue. See that glossy area right there? There's no glue there, so I make sure to spray it. Notice how it goes matte once I spray it? That's what we're looking for when we're spraying these tattoos. After giving the tattoos 2 to 3 even coats of glue, we'll place the acetate over our tattoo. These sheets are kind of interesting because one side is just a normal sheet of plastic. The other side, though, has been siliconized. You can determine which side is which by taking a Sharpie and by giving it a little mark. See how that Sharpie beads up on that piece of acetate? That's the siliconized side. The other side is just normal, which is why that Sharpie drew without a problem. So we place our siliconized side down onto the tattoo and very evenly try to flatten it out. Try not to get any air bubbles in there, and if you do, just try to push them out by working them from the center outward. That's the best way to get any air bubbles out of your paper. Of course, we'll do the same thing to our other sheet. Lay down the acetate and work those air pockets out from the middle outward. When cutting out your tattoo, I usually do a rough cut, and then I try to get all the details. You want to try to get as close as possible to that edge. The reason for this is that glue sometimes will be visible around the tattoo after you apply it to your actor. If you cut as close as that edge as you can eliminate that possibility. Also, make sure to get those nooks and crannies. We want to make sure that those little knobs line up to our design sections of the tattoo, kind of like teeth on a gear. When I was working on the Suicide Squad, we had about 6 or 7 makeup artists all sitting around cutting out Harley Quinn tattoos. I wasn't on that makeup, but the 2-person team that was had a ton of tattoos they had to cut out, so the rest of the team jumped in to help prep where needed. So once we get everything set, we're going to need a couple things for the application. We'll need our Pros-Aide to help apply the tattoo to the skin. We're going to need some no color powder, a makeup sealer, water, 99% alcohol, our Skin Illustrator Effects palette to fill in any gaps that we might get, and of course, our tattoo. Lastly, a couple brushes, a couple tattoo pens, and some Monistat anti-chafing gel. This will eliminate any shine that we get once we're done. So just like you do when you're applying a prosthetic, we'll need to prep the skin. In this case, I'm using 70% alcohol to get rid of any oils or dirt that might be on the skin. Once that's dried, we'll apply our Pros-Aide. We'll stipple this onto the areas of the skin where the tattoo is going to go. Now remember that our tattoo already has Pros-Aide sprayed over the surface, so this Pros-Aide on the skin is really just going to help us ensure that the tattoo transfers correctly from the tattoo paper and onto the skin. Once it's dried, I go ahead and get out my first part of the tattoo. You're going to want to slowly peel back your acetate to reveal the tattoo. Make sure your actor's in the right position. For us, we really want to make sure that thumb is right where it needs to be so we can line up that mouth correctly. Notice how that tattoo isn't totally stuck down? Now the reason that's happening is because we're trying to take a flat object and put it on a curved surface. So it's not laying down as easily as I hoped it would. So in this case, I'm leaving it a little bit off the surface, and I'm just going to wet my paper towel and push it down real quick. The reason this works is because once that wetness penetrates the paper, it'll give the paper a little bit of flex. You do have to move fast though, because the moment you put that water on the paper, it's going to start to release the tattoo. Now it makes sense that you get trouble by doing this, because if the skin gets wet before the tattoo makes contact, the tattoo won't adhere to the skin. So you have to be super careful when doing this. Once it's been soaked for about 30 seconds, I slowly start to peel the paper back, and we really take care to look and make sure that we've transferred the entire tattoo to the skin. Sometimes there will be small parts of the tattoo that want to stay on the water slide paper. We want to try to avoid that, so we'll just take our time during this process to make sure that you're getting all of those bits off of your water slide paper. Sometimes bigger tattoos like this can be a little strange, especially when going over curved parts of the anatomy. Especially parts of the anatomy that move. We want to have our actor in a neutral position, so that way our design will look as natural as it can. If our actor is flexed too much in either direction, things might not line up correctly, and our design will become distorted. Notice how I'm drying the tattoo after I stick down each section. If I didn't dry that water, when I put the next section on, that tattoo could become wet too early, and then I could potentially run the risk of ruining the tattoo because it doesn't transfer correctly. Avoid that headache and just make sure everything's dry. Just like the other sections, I make sure to soak the paper for a good 30 seconds. Push down that tattoo to really make sure it's on the skin, and slowly peel it up, making sure that you've gotten all the parts of the tattoo transferred onto the skin. Now it's powder time. Go ahead and get your no color powder out and powder the tattoo to take any of that stickiness away. Now unfortunately I got distracted by my wife putting that prosthetic on her eye, and I didn't realize that the lower part of the tattoo was still wet in places. You're going to notice that there's some funky wet powder lines that have shown up. Those areas are spots where the no color powder has mixed with the water and has created that nasty white residue. No worries though, we can get rid of that with some paint and some Final Seal. The other thing you're going to notice is that there are a couple little areas that didn't totally transfer off of my tattoo. No worries there either. That's why we have our effects palette and our tattoo pens ready to go. We can just kind of paint those sections in. Now you'll notice the seams don't exactly line up perfectly too, so we'll use the Illustrator palette to take care of those areas as well. Go over those white haze areas with a sponge and some Final Seal, and you notice how that white tends to disappear. Now the green in the Illustrator palette is almost a perfect match for our tattoo, so we'll go ahead and fill in a couple of those little areas of the anatomy on the snake's head with that green color. Now I'm kind of looking over the whole tattoo, and I'm hitting any areas that are catching my eye. You'll notice little sections that didn't transfer that we're going to go ahead and address, and we'll just keep going over the tattoo with our Skin Illustrator colors to fill those areas in. So the nice thing about that effects palette is there's a wide variety of color options to choose from, and because of this, mixing pigments to correctly match your tattoo shouldn't be a problem. Just remember that everything that we're applying today is dissolvable with 99% alcohol. Did you see that smudge on the snake's nose? That was easily fixable with just a little bit of 99% alcohol on an IT. Now there are a few small areas remaining with that white haze residue, and since we got the bulk off with the Final Seal, I'm going over with the green from the Illustrator palette and just kind of touching those spots up where needed. Again, if anything catches your eye, now's the time to take care of it. Another great product for tattoos is the KD151 tattoo pen. The pigments on these pens are great because they're formulated to have that aged tattoo look. They come in all sorts of different colors, and in this case I'm using a 25% aged black ink to darken the edges of the snake. I'm also defining the teeth a little bit because those teeth kind of got lost into some of the wrinkle lines of her hand. With that tattoo pen, we can darken in those areas to make them pop. Getting rid of those powder areas, darkening in those lines, and filling in those gaps are all part of the finishing process that I go through when applying any tattoo. Sometimes you'll have more finishing, sometimes you'll have less. Obviously you want to go for less, but sometimes stuff doesn't exactly go the way you want, so you just kind of have to take care of it accordingly. Lastly, we lock everything in that we've been working on with a sealer. In this case, I'm using the matte version of the EVA Pro Seal. Just spray that sealer over her entire arm, locking in everything that we've done, and make sure to let it dry. And because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, I'm giving everything one last look. Of course, I'm realizing that we missed a couple of lines on the back of her elbow, and those areas need to be covered. After we get that area knocked out, the final step is coating everything in Monistat Anti-Chafing Gel. This product works as an anti-shine and helps to eliminate the natural shine that Prazade tends to have. One last little tip for that Monistat, I've actually used it as a general anti-shine on cast before. Don't knock it till you try it, works better than you think. And there you have it. We've put the snake into its natural habitat because I want to show how it looks in a more natural lighting situation. Keep in mind that your makeups and colors will look different in different lighting situations. That's why when you're in pre-production on a film or TV show, you'll have at least one camera test day, and during those days the camera department will test what costumes, hair, makeup, and props look like under different lighting situations. With all that said, you can see how the tattoo looks in diffused light and a direct light, and we can see how that tattoo moves and how it works on the skin. See how it looks really ingrained into the skin? All of those finishing details that we added in there really help to bring the whole thing together. So that's going to do it for us on this episode of Off the Walls Effects. I hope you learned a little something and had some fun with the process of making temporary tattoos. So what do you think? Do you want to give it a shot here in the future? Do you want to try to design one yourself? Go ahead and let me know in the comments below, and of course, if you liked the video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more updates from Off the Walls Effects. And as always, have fun and keep making cool stuff.